Hi, and welcome back to Someone Needs to Say It TV. I'm Emily here with Alex. Today we're going to be talking about the tariffs. Alex, tell me what's going on with this.
So right now, they're debating with the Supreme Court about the legality of Trump's tariffs and the tariffs that he's put in place, the way that he went about it, specifically the way that he went about it or justified it under the specific act or law that he used to justify him being able to place those tariffs on those countries. How we got to where we're at. And so, with that being said, they haven't said one way or another if I feel like they're going to say that he was justified in doing it, but we don't really know yet for sure if it's going to go through. They supposedly Scott Bessent has said that they have a backup plan where they could switch it from one act as the justification to a different act and still be able to do it. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
It's just, at this point, it's more just a legal jargon, play on words, if you will.
Okay, so what does this mean for Americans?
So yesterday actually, Trump put out that he is proposing a $2,000+ stimulus, or not really a stimulus. It's kind of a bad word. A $2,000+
Like a credit
rebate to
okay.
Americans, similar to what happened with COVID. Everybody got the stimulus checks and all that, but with this situation, it wouldn't be for everyone. They haven't put out this.
Like, what do you mean for everyone?
So, like the rich people down to the children. Because you remember during COVID when they got the stimulus checks, even the kids. If you had kids, you got paid for the children. They got money allocated to them. So every American got paid. So the word on the street now is that it's mainly geared towards your middle class and your lower class citizens, and
Wow.
the higher earners, the rich, if you will be excluded from receiving the stimulus or rebate check.
Wow, that's actually really, really interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, and it's actually really cool because instead of just giving back all that money, especially to the rich people, because at the beginning they didn't know, should we give this back to the people or should we use this to pay down our debts? That was a topic that people felt very strongly about. I personally think that we need to do something about the $37 trillion debt because that's totally not sustainable. Yeah. And every economist has said the same thing and said, hey, we can't keep operating like this. If this were a household budget, we would be having some conversations about how we're going to be cutting back. Yeah, we would be having that conversation for sure. So basically, from what I've gathered at this point in time, is that they're looking at doing the rebate checks for the middle and lower income families. They haven't specified about the children if they're going to be included in that. They've definitely said that there's going to be a limitation for the rich, but they haven't put out a threshold for what that level is. Is it $100,000, $200,000, $1 million?
Yeah, what cutoff line is.
Right.
Okay.
And that is a big deal because, I mean, let's say you live in a state, California or New York or New Jersey, or a state that the cost of living is much higher than, let's say, you live in Mississippi.
Well, that's one.
So you could make $100,000 and live in New Jersey and be, on the lower end of the.
Yeah. Will they consider your electric bill, internet bill, your gas bill? Will they consider any of that? Because
I think they're going to have to. Because just the sheer cost of living difference for people living in different areas of the country, they're going to have to somehow find a way to justify where to set that threshold.
They have to.
Someone who makes $100,000 in New Jersey is totally different than somebody who makes $100,000 in Mississippi.
Yeah, and with it being a federal program, you got to take that into consideration.
For sure.
So what else does Trump want to do with the remaining of the money?
Okay, so in addition to those rebate checks, if you will, I like to call them rebate checks.
Yeah, we can go with.
I don't want to call them a stimulus. I don't want to call them a stimulus check. Let's go with rebate because I think that's way more accurate of a description of what it is. They will also use the other funds to actually do the pay down on the debt, which I think is a responsible thing. I really do. If we weren't going to do rebate checks, which I hope that they do, based off the current economy, and as much as I know people are struggling, if you look at the M2 money supply and you look at the amount people that are getting behind on their car notes, mortgages, the cost of groceries and all those things. I hope that they do a rebate check to help out. Even if it's just a one-time thing, just to help out Americans who have been on the struggle bus for the past. I mean, we got through the whole Biden age with the huge inflation. We got through we struggled through the giving money to all these countries to fight these wars to help everybody out. I hope that they find a way to help out Americans for once and help people, even if it's just a one-time $2,000 check to give Americans who are the ones that are paying these increased prices a little bit of a break.
I agree.
I really hope that stays, but I also, being a responsible person, know that we need to start paying down on our $37 trillion debt. And
absolutely,
it needs to start. And
don't they have a website where like you can go on and it shows you the number and it just keeps counting up and up and up and up?
Oh yeah, the U.S. debt. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you pull that thing up, it makes you want to throw up.
I know.
Man, that's disgusting. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But at the same time, that just we'll just put in a little snippet of this. That number is very scary, but it's also very different than what we would consider a household budget, because this is the thing: the government essentially never dies. We die. So if we're not married, so we're good friends. But let's just hypothetically, it was our household and we're looking at our financial situation. Well, we only have X amount of years to pay off our homes, our cars, our credit cards, student loan bills, all those things before we pass away. Not to be morbid or anything, but we have a finite amount of time that we can actually earn income and pay things off. The government essentially is here forever. So part of, and this is something that most people don't know, part of our national debt is actually our current fiscal balance sheet. So that $37 trillion, I think right now we're spending, our federal budget is like 8 or 9 trillion, is what we're spending. So out of that 37 trillion, you take out the 8 or 9 trillion that's for this year on current spending. So let's say 9. So 37, take 9 off of that. You got 28 trillion. So our current actual debt is 28 trillion.
Okay.
Because they roll in the current budget into that total number. So it's a little misleading, but still 27 trillion, 25 trillion, 30 trillion. It's still a lot of money. And let's be real. It has to get paid somehow. Otherwise, we lose our credit rating, which would make it harder for us to repay that money because interest rates would go up. People wouldn't want to buy our bonds or treasuries. It would get harder for us to service that debt, more expensive to service that debt. So that means we would be able to pay off less over the same period of time, because we would be less trustworthy. Because basically that's how it works. Is the U.S. dollar is a IOU written by the government saying, "Hey, trust us. We're going to pay. We're going to maintain our situation."
Yeah. Is this related to the port shutdown?
The what?
The ports being shut down.
Well, it doesn't help. So when you think about it, I mean, like the portal, when you're not bringing in services and stuff, you're going to have less tax revenue to bring money into the coffers. So let's say, okay, so back to math, gorilla, and let's do a little bit easier number. Let's say 10 trillion. If you have a $10 trillion budget and you're betting on receiving $6 trillion in taxes because of the goods and production and the GDP of your country, and you're betting on having tax revenues that are going to bring in around $6 trillion, well, you're operating on a $4 trillion deficit. So that means you have to borrow $4 trillion to make up that hole in your book. Let's go back to the family setting. If you're a stay-at-home mom, I go to work, I make $100,000. Our financial budget that we look at, between all of our bills and everything we have, we spend $150,000, but I only make $100,000, and you're a stay-at-home mom. We're $50,000 in the hole.
Yeah.
So that means we either got to use credit cards, take out loans, or so that puts us in a predicament. How long can you run a family, a budget, a family situation, a family financial situation with a budget deficit of $50,000 per year when you only make it $100? It's not. It's not
realistic.
It's not realistic. At some point, the music stops, and that's where we're at. So, like I said, it's a little bit different with the government because the government essentially never dies, in theory. But it's something that we need to start looking at. And from Ray Dalio to Jamie Dimon from J.P. Morgan Chase and all these guys saying the same. Warren Buffett, we're on a fiscal track that is unsustainable. We have to start doing something.
Should we be really concerned?
I know. I think that there's a lot of smart people that are in government, but it's time to be realistic and start making realistic moves to try to fix some of these things. We can't just keep kicking the can down the road. We shouldn't want to keep kicking the can down the road because we're going to kick that debt down the road to our children. That's not right.
No.
Yeah, stick our children with a $40 trillion credit card bill. Yeah, that's not cool. I'm not cool with that. And so even if they didn't do the rebate checks so that we could pay more or against the federal deficit or the federal debt, I could somewhat consider that. However, what are we fighting about right now? What's the government shutdown about right now? The mismanagement of money and how poorly they're spending money. And that's what really concerns me because, like, hey, I don't like the way that you guys are spending money. I think that you guys are blowing money on things that are not smart moves. You're not making good financial decisions. You're spending money on programs and foreign aid donations monetarily, where we're giving billions of dollars to all countries all over the world.
But we're not taking care of our own country.
But we're not taking care of our own country, and we're racking up huge deficits that at some point, sometime, they have to get paid. Otherwise, it just gets worse and worse for us, and that's not a good idea. Any way you spin it, it's not a good idea, and it ends poorly.
So it sounds like to me, Trump is doing all he can to try to fix.
I mean, like it or love the guy. I had my mixed about him to start with. I started hearing the policies that he had, and think about the no tax on tips, no tax on actually, believe it or not, if people would look up it's like 88% of seniors on Social Security will pay zero tax.
Oh, that's great.
On this upcoming tax return. Like, he's doing a lot of things if you can get past the stigma and everybody loves to bash him and call him all kinds of stuff, but like, if you actually look at the policies that he's putting in there, I think Trump, honest to God, the first president that I can remember that actually cared about America. Hey, some people might disagree with me, but I wholeheartedly believe that he's the first person to actually think about Americans and the vitality and the success, future success, and sustainability of our country. He's a billionaire. He's been a multi-billionaire. He doesn't even take a paycheck.
No.
Like, I mean, for him,
he's not in it for the money. It sounds
he's not in it for the money. He doesn't need the money.
I just don't see it.
Think about the headache that everybody gives to him. He's a billionaire. He could go buy an island and be like, man, piss off. I don't need none of you guys. But he's not. He's sitting there dealing with everybody bashing him. just all kinds of crazy, bad, mean things. Putting his fellow. I mean, do you see how many times they subpoenaed his sons? I think they're the two most subpoenaed individuals in U.S. history.
Wow.
Like, they were like subpoenaed each. Eric and Donald Jr. were like subpoenaed over 300 each. That's insane. So, like, he didn't need any of that stuff. The fact that he's doing it. Hey, once things get real when it hits your pocket, right? When everybody does their taxes here in a couple of months, I'm willing to bet be some people will change their minds about him personally.
Oh yeah.
And like, I mean, hey, I'll call a spade a spade. If I were 20 years ago, I probably would have been partying and doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not gonna knock the guy for what he did 20 years ago. But let me also say this: if he's on any Epstein list or anything like that, I'm not down with that. Not one iota. And if he is, release the files, and I will take back any word I said about it, because I did not condone that stuff. I'm not about that. Not one iota. However, I don't really care if he has lived in a big old penthouse in New York City and done this jet set or what. I don't care.
What do you say?
I'm here for right now, unless he was involved with some scumbags and did some scumbag stuff. At that point, I'm done with him. But right now, the policies he's putting out are common sense policies that are trying to help Americans.
What do you say to the people that feel like these billionaires owe America money?
Man, it actually really frustrates me when people say that, because you know how those billionaires got to be billionaires?
A lot of them started out in their garage. A lot of them started out from nothing.
Some of them got a handout, but this is the thing:
But who is
without
to
those
say?
billionaires, we wouldn't have all these, or we wouldn't have Palantir, we wouldn't have Google, we wouldn't have iPhones, what was it,
Androids,
dude?
everything.
Cook, all those, like those guys built. They took went for, even Jeff. He started a book company in his garage,
Yeah.
and now look at it, it's
Steven.
Amazon. Like that's the American dream. To hate on being successful, I don't even get that.
I just don't understand why people have a say in where billionaires should have to do with their money.
Well, but yeah, but in that that's and at the same time they'll turn around and say, why do you care about what SNAP recipients pay or use their money to pay for? Like, well, okay,
Yeah,
well you can't
it's
really have it,
such
but you can't have
a-
it both ways. This guy earned it, and you're mad at him for doing it certain ways. Which, hey, don't get me wrong, when they're flying around to these planet global warming, conferences in their private jets, not really good look.
Like-
Not really. Don't preach to me about my carbon footprint. We're flying around your private jet to the
Yeah, that's not right.
not a good look. But at the same time, I don't think we should steal someone's. I don't think we should steal anyone's wealth because they earned it by working hard.
Yeah.
I think it's not nonsense.
No. Nobody
Nonsense.
should dictate what.
Well, and there's actually guys like Mark Cuban. I don't know really how I feel about the guy, but he's been starting the discussion about taking companies and giving the people that work in that company a vested interest. So when he sold a couple of his last companies, he actually gave the people that worked a cut of what the total selling price was, and it was like substantial. And there you see that a lot. That's actually becoming more prevalent. And there's even Walmart. So just you guys can fact check this up. So Walmart saw some of these things so clearly billionaires and big wigs are starting to talk about these things. Walmart, I believe this is just this last year, their store managers were making good money, like 150,000, 200,000, whatever for the store manager. Well, they bumped their pay up to like $500,000.
Yeah.
You know how they did it? They did it by offering them stock options and different benefit packages based off of them meeting certain criteria. So what does that do? That gives them it incentivizes them to, one, be engaged in the company that they're working for, but also to make sure that they take care of their people.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to have a store that's going to meet numbers and be successful and exceed numbers so that they meet those stock option levels or requirements if you aren't taking care of your people. So it's a new.
I feel like the people should be taken care of,
Right.
but I feel like a lot of people take these jobs, like entry level positions, a cashier at McDonald's, a Burger King, anything like that, and they try to provide that income for their family.
Right.
Jobs designed for more college students, entry level work students, or something.
I see where you're going. I see where you're going with that, because that was like working fast. Even when I was a kid or going in high school, fast food was an entry level position to kind of get you used to the workflow and bring you in there. It wasn't a career. It wasn't a career move. That wasn't where you were going and gonna work for the rest of your life. That wasn't a career.
That's
position.
what I was taught.
Right. It was to get you in there, to get you flowing, what work life is like, and then it was a stepping stone into something else. You go to college or you worked it or whatever, and then you moved on from there. But do you remember it was just go California when they put out the $20 an hour minimum wage for fast food workers? Well, I said it back then. I said, hey, if we're paying every fast food worker $20 an hour, you can't expect the dollar menu to say the same price.
Yeah. What happened to the Taco Bell dollar menu?
And what happened exactly? Perfect. I definitely think that they haven't changed the federal minimum wage in a long time, and I definitely think that there's needs to be some changes.
Yeah, it's still
to that,
$7.25 an hour.
just because the price of everything has gotten so crazy, astronomically. A lot of that is because of insane government spending. I mean, Joe Biden spent like $10 trillion between the Affordable Care Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, the CHIPS Act, the Build Back Better Act. Like there was like $10 trillion below. $10 trillion has to go somewhere. And what happened? Inflation went out of control.
Yeah.
So repercussions to everything, and I think that was a direct reflect of them pumping $10 trillion into an economy, without really there being a justification for it. When COVID happened, we had to pump money into the economy to save the economy from imploding. But that's neither here nor there. That's a topic for another discussion.
Yeah, that's wild. But that's all I have for this evening. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, let's y'all can drop some comments in the comments and likes in the chat. We'll read through them and get back to y'all in the next day or two, and we'll readdress the topic.
Yeah. All right. See y'all later.
See y'all.